Welcome to Sunset Spark Live. We'll be up in just a moment. Sunset Spark Live now. Sunset Spark Live now. Sorry for the echo, guys. We'll be looking at vehicles. We'll be building Lego robotics vehicles and looking at our sumo bot battle yesterday at MS 136. Okay. I really got to figure out a better way to go live on Twitter, I think. All right. Whoops. Hold on. Good, we are up. Okay. All right. Gonna have to figure out how to get that down. All right, welcome. I'm Dalen from Sunset Spark. Yesterday, we didn't do a stream yesterday. I was at Center for Family Lifeline's recess camp at MS 136, and we're doing a robotics all day there where we were building robots for a sumo battle. Most of the kids there had not done robotics before. It was mostly 6th and 7th graders, maybe a few 8th graders, like 20 kids. None of them had done, most of them had not done robotics before. Some of them I had taught when they were in like 4th and 5th grade, but most of them, it sounded like they told me they didn't have robotics. And so they were a little nervous when we started that robot battle because I had tons of boxes of unsorted Legos at the school put out for them, and they really didn't know where to start. So I gave them a picture of a robot they could kind of build from. It was really simple. So I thought today we would try building a new vehicle that works as like a quick template for kids to build if we're going to do more sumo bots in the future. I thought it would be cool to look at some of the footage that we had from this. So here is one of the robots. This one was kind of cool. It if you look here, it had a sword on it and it slices the robot. Everyone was pretty excited when the sword actually worked and sliced it. Let's see that again. So it's got this sword and slice, it actually worked. It's kind of cool. Everyone was really excited that that worked. It was a pretty spectacular display of a robot battle. That robot did not win though. Here's one video of the winning robot. This is one of the, I think this is the second round. This is just a clip. And so it's, the winning one is the one with the blue, like spiky balls on the end. And it was ramming. It's rear powered, which I think makes a difference. This other bout kind of fell apart, which is funny. And then in sumo bot battle, we push him off the edge. So this guy goes in for the fatality, boom, done for. And the robot that's on the table now, if we look at it, it's got rear power. So the wheels are situated back here, and like the front, this is the back of the robot. And based on previous competitions, I think that's generally the design that works best if you have rear power, because I don't know the exact physics behind it, but you push it with a stronger force. And here is from the final round. It gets pushed off the edge in the final bout. Push, 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 boom. They didn't want their robots to get destroyed at the end, because we did a battle royale style where all the bots went on the table and everyone kind of went at it. Okay, so you can also see the robots weren't programmed there. Typically when we do sumo battles, we're not programming the robots, we're using Lego EV3 Commander on iPad. So it's like a remote control builder for them where you can set up a joystick, a virtual joystick, and hook it up to different inputs, or sorry, different outputs. You can also put inputs in there that will kind of trigger too, but most outputs for it and just setting up the control pad. It's fun for the kids. It makes it more like a remote controlled car that they built. And the kids yesterday had fun. Like I said, they were nervous in the beginning. Pretty much everyone was nervous. Some kids, once they got over that, they jumped right into looking at my picture. Other kids, they worked with adult counselors to try to come up with something. But everyone at the end actually was really excited and built their robots. Kids who were apprehensive in the beginning got into it. It was a mix of, it was half girls, half boys there. And everyone had a good time. Actually, most of the kids said they wanted to do it more. They were excited to come back from lunch. They wanted to end lunch early to come back, which is great because we've been trying to get a robotics program going there, but I think most kids aren't showing up for it. And now that they've seen it, I think they'll be more excited to go now that they've been forced into it during their break. All right, so like I said, today we're going to be building a car based off of that car, and it's basically rear powered. Let me switch cams here. All right, so it's rear powered. So I don't know what I'm going to build, but I think I want something that maybe we build something that looks like this. That could be cool. A little low to the ground, maybe a little higher up. We could do it. I don't know if I want to sit it on top. Maybe slightly elevated would be a good look. We're going to use these wheels. I might switch to this little tiny wheel, but if we're going to do sumo bots, we want something bigger, so it has more torque, more pushing power. And we're going to use a caster wheel to help it turn. These caster wheels at the school, which aren't our supplies, every caster wheel had been popped out, so the marble that's in here was no longer in there. So the kids didn't really have the benefit of a caster wheel there, which makes moving a lot easier. If you look in one of those videos, you can see one car didn't even have tires on it just because the tires were adding too much friction. So we're going to put the caster wheel most likely in the front here, rear wheels in the back. Let's figure out how to connect this. So what's nice about EV3s is if you've ever used the NXT stuff, it doesn't quite snap in the way the EV3s do, where EV3s have lots of the corners are squared off better so that pieces can actually snap in. And we're going to try to put this one maybe right here. I'd say this would be a good spot. I don't want to put it underneath because I'm using a battery pack, and if I put it underneath, then it won't work for people who are using regular batteries. So let's look about how we can connect this to here. There are some connectors back here, so we could attach it right there if we wanted to. We could also connect something up here. I'm probably going to do both sides. It looks like a little gap here. So maybe if we've got two sides to this. All right. These snaps are really good for this kind of stuff. The snaps, they come in two varieties. Actually, they come in three varieties. There's also the single snap. But these ones like this are good for this situation because they snap right in. And if it wasn't for the gap right there, it would go in perfectly. So there's something we can try. If we extend this with a five, let's put a 5-hole beam here. I'm going to use, let me just line it up first. If I put a 5 here, and then I put that one down. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to put 2 pegs here to top. I'm going to separate a hole in the middle because we're going to need that hole. And we're going to line this up, this 5-hole beam, lined up symmetrically. This middle hole should be empty, so this can sit in now. Now it's one down and snaps in right there. A little loosey-goosey. It's a snap though. Now, when I build, I'm always building for, I guess, brevity is the best way to do it. So that's loose there, but that might not be a total problem. When I say brevity, it's because most of the time, I'm not building complicated robots. I'm building quick robots for students to use in class. So if I can come up with a design that would work well in a classroom, it has to be built in like between 10 and 20 minutes. 20 minutes on the max side, 10 minutes on the fast side. If kids build too fast, then I have a bunch of crazy kids running around the classroom with robots. So I'm going to do the other side like this, and we're just going to check if we like the way it looks. So I'm going to get another, I got 2 black pegs separated with a hole in the middle. Put the 5 on symmetrically like that. Snap that into place. All right, we've got something. Now, if we use these small wheels, it's not going to get off the ground enough. It won't get off the ground, which will be a problem. These big wheels, though, that's good. Oh, maybe there's enough room that we could have the big wheels on the inside or on the outside. Let's try that out. Now, when you put these wheels on, you want to, kids always make this mistake. There's a few mistakes kids make when they're building cars. I'm going to demonstrate one of them for you. All right, I need a big axle to demonstrate that. So they'll jam a big axle through. They'll put the wheel on, and then they won't put a spacer there. So it is pushed up against the side here, which is not great. Sorry, I was trying to figure out if I'm blurry or not. It looks like it's semi in focus. Can't change it now anyway. You don't want the wheel pushed up against the side. It's going to rub, and it's not going to get the pushing power that you need. So you need a bushing. Put a bushing on the end so that when you put the wheel on, now it does not push up against the side. No matter how much you squeeze, those gaps have been shut by Lego, so it will not squeeze off. You don't really need to put a bushing on the other side of the wheel. It's most likely not going to fall off. I'm going to leave this here so that I can show the other problem kids make. The other problem kids make is this is really like an elementary school mistake and maybe like 6th grades. Hopefully by middle school their intuition kind of comes into play, but lots of kids will also connect the two axles together. They think that the axles need to be connected together for the wheels. This makes it a problem because now the robot is not going to be able to turn because these are coming together. And what it's going to do is twist the axle. So whenever you turn one wheel, it's going to turn the other wheel unless you have the brakes on, and then it's just going to not move at all. It's going to be twisted. So kids often make this mistake. You do not want your axles connected. So I'm actually going to use a smaller axle because I like things to fit nicely when I'm building. And let's see here, not that size. There should be another gray one that's, all right. I'm going to use another one in here. Sorry. Too long, just right. Okay, let's draw those back. Okay, I'm going to use what size is it? It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 7-length. It's a 7-length axle. So I'm going to put the axle in. I'm going to put the bushing on, and then I'm going to put the wheel on. All right. It does stick out a little bit here. So you might want to use a 6-length one, which is going to be black. If you use a 6-length one, it'll fit in perfectly. Rather than having that little piece stick out there. Sometimes it can be good to have a little gap so that if kids want to, they can put a tooth on there. Put a tooth in there, make it look a little cooler. Cooler relatively, you know, flare pieces. Kids like the flare pieces. I'm seeing that this motor keeps falling off a lot, so I'm going to make a little adjustment to this. Now, if we match it in, you'll notice that this middle, in the middle here, there's an extra gap here. So what I'm going to do is take off this black peg. I'm going to put the length 3 blue pegs in. So now when I snap this on the length, the blue one, I'll show you. The blue one's going to stick out a little bit when I put this on. And when I put this on, the blue one will stick in here a tad. Now that's a bit more secure. I'll do the same thing to the other side. That'll keep the motors from falling off on this piece at least. The snaps might still come undone. I wish I would have connected these in some way, but over here, but make it a little flimsy. You saw when the robot busted up in the first video. Kids like it when things fall apart. Okay, we've got that. Now we need a front. We need to put the caster wheel on here. If we had 2 caster wheels, we could put one here, and one here, and that would be probably pretty slick looking. But we're going to put it, we're going to connect it down here. Now I can't just connect that because that's going to be, I need to switch the angle. So I need to get this somehow facing down. There's quite a few ways to do that. There's these. I could use that to connect something in some way. Oh, here's a little technique. You could, actually, let's try that. Let me see how many of these are in a kit, because sometimes there aren't enough in a kit. Let me just double check. Our office. Oh, we have 6 of those pieces in a kit. So I am going to use that, because that will be a fun little, we're going to need 3 of them. And we're going to set them up we're going to need 2 bushings. So we're going to set it up like this. We've got like that. But when we connect it, this is going to turn at an angle like that. All right, now let's calculate. We need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need a length 5 axle, one of these. So we're going to push this through like that, put the bushing on. This is where the trick comes in. We're going to turn this at an angle. Then we're going to put the other bushing on, snap that on, and it will look like that. Okay, and then we're going to take 2 black pieces over here, 2 black pegs over here. Kids love to just put black pegs everywhere, and it makes it a real pain to clean up, and it's not always necessary. So we're just going to use 2 on each side, like that. We're going to snap that on. And now we can put on the caster wheel. Caster wheel could go in the front or the back. Let's see if it really makes a difference. All right, there we go. Actually, here's a plan. Because these are sumo bots and they're going to want to battle, we're probably most helpful to students is instead of using black pegs there, we're going to use the blue pegs. Let's see if this actually works. We're going to put the blue pegs in so they go to both sides of this. We're going to put the caster wheel on the inside, and let's take a long, this I think is 15, and put that on the front. That way, kids can add attachments to the front now to make ramming, to make something that rams. We're not using those anymore. Let's dump those out. All right. Let's turn it on. This also works if you want to add like attach a sensor to the front. So it's got I think it's got a good base to work off of for kids. Let's test it out. There's other ways to shore this up if you're worried it's going to break apart. I mean, kids are good at this kind of stuff where you just like get a long axle. It's not quite long enough. You need 2 axles. I'll tell you that in a moment. Okay, let's go to brick program. I'm going to put this in B and C, I think. I'm just going to have it move forward. Have it move backwards. Let's see if it goes. All right, that was backwards and forwards, but let's try that again. All right, let's have it spin a little bit. Let's see if it's got good spin control. Whoops, I had it spin the same way both times. All right, it's a little tipsy-turvy here. It does feel like it's going to get knocked that way. But you know what? When you give kids a base, you don't want it to be too easy to work off of. So that it's, like I mentioned before too, this is a little wiggly for my taste. Some things I could perhaps consider there. I kind of blocked off the connectors, so I don't really know where I would go with that. Oh, you could connect, if you wanted to make it a little stronger, you could connect from here to here. They're not in the right plane to really facilitate that, but we could connect a piece like that, a piece like that, and then put one of these corner pieces there. And that would most likely make it a little stronger, a little less wobbly. Maybe. That starts getting a little complicated for my taste. Let me do the shake test. All right, didn't pass the shake test. Hey, it broke the same place I thought it was going to break before. I thought that would have worked. Oh wait, never mind. Failed the shake test. If you didn't have the battery pack here, you could make a thing that went straight across. If you're using AA batteries instead of the rechargeable, you could make a connection straight across so that it doesn't wobble as much. We don't quite have that option here. Well, is that really the case? Here's something we could do. All right. How long have we been streaming? For 25 minutes? All right. This should be at least a half hour. So if we wanted to add some more pieces, would that work? Or would this be better? There's a few ways you could do this. You could take this piece and connect it here, or you could use one of these pieces and do it. I'm showing you that one. So if you were this thing, if you were to connect that here, or you could use this piece, connect that here. It doesn't really matter as long as you do the same on both sides. And then you could put an axle that goes straight across to hold it. I'm going to go an even easier route. It's slightly lazy, but if you've got lots of parts, then probably isn't that bad. I'm going to use these snaps again that we were using earlier. Like I said, snaps make it really easy to do things the lazy way. So we're going to snap in one here. Oops. And one on the other side. Let's test my theory about putting that across. Actually, let's use the correct size, 13. No, 11. All right, here's an 11. It's not the right color that comes with the kits. This is from the education kit, but we can still use it. We can actually use two 11s. Let me see if I have another one. All right, I've got two non-conforming colored 11 pieces. We're gonna go with those. All right, so we take black peg on both sides, black peg. So we're gonna use 4 black pegs. And that should connect. Should fit perfectly. These 11 length beams aren't the ones that come in the kit. You're going to have different colored ones. Yours are probably going to be gray. There. Now, oh, now it doesn't bounce as much if you hit it. You can see that this is stabilized. So that's probably a good way to do it if you've got the battery pack. If you don't have the battery pack, you can figure out your own way to build it straight across to hold it up. There we go. I guess I could hook it up to the EV3 Commander if people want to see that. Do I have EV3 Commander on here? Let's check this out. Okay. My robot is called, let's give it a new name. There we go. Got to turn Bluetooth on. Bluetooth, whenever you're connecting things to Bluetooth, man, who knows how that's going to turn out. I've found that it works better on iPads, on iOS, than it does Android. The Android one has some problems. I'm just going to put my iPad here. Bluetooth. It should show up. I called it EV3G. Connect. It's going to give me some thing to connect, some passcode, but it never actually does anything with the passcode. And then we can open up Commander. Ignore that. So let me see if I can brighten this. That's already bright enough. All right. You can't see that. Maybe you can. Let me flip it. We are going to add a controller. So you can add different joysticks here, depending on what you're doing. We're just going to add a joystick, and it asks which our left motor is and which our right one is. So if this is our robot and that's forward, left is going to be connected to B, and right's going to be connected to C. I'm pretty sure I have to say to go reverse, though, because I have the motors oriented backwards. If the motors were pointed the other direction, going this way, going that way, then it would be the proper direction. Like this is considered the back of the motor, and this is the front, so I have them oriented backwards. So anyway, if this doesn't work for you, you can always try, just trial and error. All right, I got my controller. Wow. When it does that, you just have to flick it. Doesn't work perfect. Sometimes it doesn't get the commands to stop. All right, you got the idea. Okay. All right. So, should I do a quick rebuild of this so that everyone can see how it was put together if students are watching in class? I'm going to need 2 motors, 2 wheels. I'll be right back. 2 motors, 2 wheels, a programmable brick. All right, programmable brick, 2 motors, 2 wheels. I don't think I have enough snaps in here. Let's see, I'm going to need 2 snaps. Where's my snap box? All right. I used 2 of those snaps for the bottom. 2 of those snaps for the top. Okay. And what else did we use? We used length 5s, 2 length 5 beams. We used 2 blue pegs, 2 length 3 blue pegs, 2 black pegs. We used 3 of these. Organize that. Okay, we used 3 of those things. We used 4 bushings. 3, 4. We used 4 more black pegs. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more black pegs. These are like the glue of building Lego. So we got quite a few black pegs there. And we used 2 more of these long blue pegs. And now I need to find. 111. Is that an 11? All right, I've got two 11 length beams. I used a 15 length beam. That one's not important. Actually, I'm gonna leave that one out because I don't feel like that's as important. And then axles. I think I was using a 7 axle. That's the one I was using, 7. Oh, that's an 8. That's not a 7. I think I get by with a 6 axle. Is that a 6? No, that's an 8 too. Here's a 6. All right, one more 6. I think that covers our axle front. Okay. All right, let's build this again. If we're going to design this with kids, I would say this piece you should do first. So we're going to get our 2. I'm going to just move everything. Again, we're going to get 2 bushings. Oh, I forgot one. What size was that? It was a small gray one. That was probably size. Okay, now we're going to take this piece and we're going to slide it through, slide the bushing on, like that. Now we're going to put this one on, another bushing, and then the angle should be nothing sticking there. So it should look like that. We'll set that aside for later. Actually, let's connect it now. We're going to take I spun that around there because I want the motors to connect to A, B, C, and D, and so I know I want the motors oriented so the wires are closest to touch. Okay, that's that. While we're here, we'll plug these 2 blue pegs in, the long blue pegs. We'll throw on a caster wheel. We're going to put it in the back. This front is here, opened up for students to attach their own things to. All right, now we'll leave that to the side. Okay, now we're going to build we're going to do the part with the motors. Okay, that motor's got things attached. Hold on. Okay. Let me look here what we're working with. Okay. We're going to let me get all the pieces out that we need first, and then we'll get to the bottom of this. Okay, first, we are going to put, this is symmetric, so we're going to put a blue peg over here, black peg here, and then put this on top, centered. Same deal, blue peg, black peg, centered. Okay. So you want them symmetric. And then we're going to snap these snaps in, the right-angled snap. My students say they look like llamas or camels. Camel snaps, you could call them. All right, we've got that. Now we're going to take our controller. Make sure the caster's in the front, and we'll take our controller, snap those in, snap those in. They fit pretty well. All right. Now let's set up our wheels. So our wheels, and this one, the first one we built, I used the longer axles, but I mentioned that it was sticking out a bit, so we're going to always put your bushing on, separate it from the wheel. Whoops. I had a piece attached that was never taken off from another day. All right, so bushing on. Boom. All right, none of it's sticking out. It's perfectly flush. All right, let's do the other side. Bushing. Remember, the bushing is to keep the motor from rubbing against the edge. Generally in robotics building, and generally, yeah, when you're building with Technics, you don't want like open gaps on axles. And so if you have an axle, you want to put some kind of spacer or bushing there to close it off. All right, now this part. In class, I don't know if I would do this if I was teaching this in a class, but for a sumo event, I would definitely show kids this part. In a class, it's a few too many extra pieces for not a lot of benefit. Because with this robot, I could probably teach kids to code, build it and code in one day. I'm not happy that this is sticking out, that there's extra sticking out there, but you know, that actually could work to kids' benefits because now there's these extra pieces. So if they wanted to, they could put like an axle sticking out back here, or sorry, a beam sticking out, or maybe a beam coming up the front. So it does give room for kids to play, some little hidden features there. Then we're going to take these black pegs and put them in. Actually, I'm quite happy that this snaps. I started saying I didn't like that. Now I actually like that they're there because it adds for some extra attachments. And then we're going to put the 7-length beam on top. A little wobbly. We're going to do one on each side. It's a little wobbly like that. If you can see, it still shifts. That's just, you know, the nature of the game. You could put stuff there to shore it up. You could put some of the, you could put like an L. If you want to, you could put L's on both sides, and that would keep it from shifting. That'll help hold it in place. But I don't think the shifting is all that problematic for temporary battle. All right. There we go. Now we've got two. And go head to head. Oh, you know, I'm gonna show the thing I was talking about. If you wanted to, you could, with these snap pieces here, you could put a beam on both sides. Like that. These are just little bonuses. So now you've got something that kind of like sticks out if you want to make something to ram. There's more to work off of here. Students could put a frame beam here if they wanted to. Oh, no, that doesn't. Oh, it could fit like that. They could put a frame beam here. There's lots of room for improvements, or for not improvements, for add-ons. You could put a frame beam like this if you wanted to, and now you're blocking. It's got like a good ramming position there. Or if you want to, you could use a shorter beam so it lines up perfectly here, and then you'd have a nice rectangular front. Anyway, that concludes this. We're going to be streaming again today at 2 o'clock. We're going to have our first guest, very special guest. So if you are, well, no one's watching right now, but at 2 o'clock, I'm going to send out some notices because we are going to have our first guest. Our first guest at 2 o'clock today, where we're going to build, I think he said he wanted to build a praying mantis robot. And I'll be honest, I've been building simple things. I have no idea how we're going to translate a praying mantis robot into a Lego robot, but we're going to try because he has high hopes. Anyway, thanks for watching. You should subscribe because we could use some viewers.